Hey, this is Dylon Powley, and this is the Step Over podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the Step Over podcast, Ottawa's grassroots soccer podcast. Thank you so much for joining. Now, this week we've got a great guest. All our guests are great, but this is the first time that I've had someone on who people have specifically said, you should have this guy on. We really want to hear from this person, and that person is Atletico Ottawa goalkeeper Dylon Powley. If you're an Atletico Ottawa fan, you might remember him leaping into Section W at the first home game. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Here's our chat with Atletico Ottawa goalkeeper Dylon Powley. So we're here with Dylon Powley, and you just celebrated your 25th birthday. Is that right?
Yeah, I did on Sunday.
Right on. Happy birthday, man.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
Did you do anything special for it?
No, nothing special. I mean, all my friends and close family and everything like that are back in Edmonton, where I'm originally from. So nothing crazy. Just, a little get together with some of the guys from the team and just pretty chill night. Watch the Canada-US game and just relaxed.
Right on. Any cake, cupcakes, ice cream? Are you into that?
I actually had the athletic therapist, Jen. She brought me a piece of cake yesterday, actually, because we weren't training on Sunday. So she brought me a piece of cake. So that's the only little bit of cake that I've had, but it was much appreciated.
Right on. So what kind was it? I'm a big cake guy, so I just need to know.
It's like it's got chocolate in it. It's got some crushed almonds with some kind of maple pecan sauce or something like that. But it was really, really good, actually. I still have a little piece of it left, but I might have after this now.
Right on. That sounds fantastic. All right. So I try and get as full a picture of my guests as I can, at least to the best of my very limited interviewer abilities. So I tend to start from from the start. When did you, Dylon Powley, first start playing soccer?
I want to say probably when I was 5 or 6. I mean, I was just playing kind of how everybody starts off, like the community rec league level. Just I think it's in Alberta, it's called Timbit soccer.
Yep.
Just for young kids and stuff like that. So I started playing then, and then eventually moved up to the club ranks.
So what got you into it? Was it just your parents needed something for you to do?
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it started. I mean, I was always a very active kid. From what I hear from my parents, I was always playing catch with my dad or trying to swing a baseball bat and hit a ball kind of thing. So there was just kind of a natural progression for me to get involved with other kids and put some of that energy that I had as a kid to good use. So it was just kind of a thing to get me running around, get me socialized with kids, keep me, just engaged in sports, and it was really good.
Right on. And were you always a goalie, or was that not always?
No, kind of a funny story how that worked. I mean, so at the community level, obviously everybody rotates and then plays goalie and stuff like that. And it was always a position I was drawn to, but I was never very good. So I was an outfield player. When I had my first club tryout, I tried out as a striker. I didn't make the team right away. I made it later, a couple of weeks later, when some other kid dropped out. So I guess I was the first alternate. So I made it, tried to become a striker. That was a very short-lived career for me. But I eventually made the switch into goalie when we had 2 goalies on our team. One was injured and one was on vacation with his parents when I was 10 or something like that. So it's I like to play goal. So I jumped in net, and it just kind of stuck for the rest of the season.
So you first tried for a striker, so the opposite of goalie. Do you still get kind of a bit of the impulse to kind of move up and try and be involved in that way? End of the game, you're just itching to go to the other end?
Of course. I'm even in practice as well, I'm always having competitions with guys thinking that I can outscore them. I'm always trying to take free kicks and stuff like that. And no, it's fun to practice. Obviously, I would never put any of those skills to use. And if I had to, there would be a problem, right? But
something's gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, no, it's just, I just like to do it have a bit of banter, have a bit of fun with the guys, right, and make things competitive.
Right on. So do you remember if there was a point when you decided that you were gonna try and take soccer, like as seriously as you could to like, trying to have a go at a pro career?
Yeah, so I guess that I would say that kind of came in my second year of university. So I always knew like I'd be good enough because as I got older, I did make a pretty rapid progression, I would say. But so I always knew I was good enough to play at some kind of college level in Canada. And in Alberta, it's called ACAC, which is the college level. And then obviously there's U Sport / CIS, which is like the university level. So I ended up making MacEwan University, which is in U Sport, under head coach Cam Leverman. The second year of my U Sport career, he decided to move on to a different, back to his teaching career, I guess. And we had an interim coach. His name was Carl Oram, and he took us on, like, I guess, a preseason trip down to Phoenix. And little did I know, he was actually the Foothills, I guess it's USL2 now, but at the time it was PDL assistant coach, behind Tommy Wielden, who's the cavalry coach. I showed really, really well, but without knowing that I was trying to impress him because I didn't know he was the coach at the time. So he just kind of asked me, he's like, well, there's this league that plays in the summer for university students, and it might be a really good opportunity for you and stuff like that. So, I mean, I went down, I made probably 4 or 5 road trips down to Calgary. And I was trying out for this team. And then all of a sudden, Tommy called me off the field one day during a game and he said, welcome to the team. And then at that point, it just kind of, honestly, it just skyrocketed from there. Like my very first year at a league and level like that, I won goalkeeper of the year out of 72 teams. I won the rookie of the year on the futsal, or the Calgary Foothills team. I won the Foot Soldiers player of the year. And honestly, ever since then, it's just been a very rapid but natural progression upwards. I did 2 seasons there. Then I went to Sweden. I came back from Sweden. I trained with Toronto FC for a couple of weeks. And then my CPL career started in Edmonton shortly after that. So it's been a crazy, I'd say 5 to 6 years for sure.
You spent 2 years with FC Edmonton and then you signed with Atletico Ottawa. Had you been to Ottawa at all before joining?
Yeah, when I was a kid, my grandparents brought me here just because we have my dad's sister lived here. So we came out here when I was a kid, but honestly, when I came back here just this, like maybe a few months ago, it was pretty much brand new to me. I didn't really remember much or anything like that, but it's a beautiful city. I love it here.
Was there any place that maybe from a tourist perspective that you were super excited to go see?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm very lucky. I live basically right across the street from the Parliament buildings. So like my first week, I was walking up and down that road, taking tours and stuff like that, and then I got to go see some of the more, I guess you could say, non-tourist areas, like the Lansdowne area and the Byward Market area and stuff like that. But no, it's everything here is beautiful, and I can't pick honestly one piece that's my favorite.
So you did some tours. Did you do like the haunted walk, or like that bus that also goes in the water?
I did that when I was a kid when I came here.
Oh, yeah?
Actually, yeah, it's actually, I remember it, and I was like, I wonder where it is. And one day I was just walking to the Redo Center, and I was like, wow, there it is right there. No, I remember that because I think it goes all the way over to Gatineau and then down into the water and then back up or something like that. No, it was pretty cool actually.
Right on. Yeah, so you're with Atletico Ottawa now, and that's a bit of a different cat in like North American soccer. Being you're in Ottawa, but like you're part of like this bigger kind of global brand. So we've heard players talk about going to Spain and like the fantastic facilities during preseason and like all that. Has there been anything that's like maybe surprised you though about being part of a club that's under this mega umbrella, or that might surprise fans maybe?
Honestly, yeah, I think it comes down back to like our trip that was in Spain. Like we were treated, I don't want to say like royalty or like the first team or anything like that, but it was kind of a new experience. Like we had Atletico Madrid's first team bus one day come pick us up. and they took us to the training facility, everything like that. We got to a majority of our training was at the facility where the women play, the women's
Yep.
team and the youth teams play. But then we did have a couple of games where it's their first team training facility. It's the first team players, the Atletico B players, everything, like all their high performance players. And I mean, to be able to train at a facility like that, that was a pretty amazing experience for everybody for sure. But yeah, no, it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but overall, I would say it's been a very humbling experience because we don't really have anything like what they have over in Spain.
Was there like a non-soccer part of that trip that kind of sticks out as being, like a really cool experience?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a lot that we did because obviously we were on a pretty strict COVID protocol. But there was a couple, like just day trips to Madrid that we did. We had to be really careful with it though, like just on the bus and stuff like that. But I mean, just to see like just a different way of living, it was just because I've been to Barcelona, I've been to Italy, so it was my first time in Madrid, but it's just like kind of refreshing to be able to like immerse yourself in a different, like just a different way of living, different culture and stuff like that. So I'd probably say that.
So you said that like you've been to Italy before and stuff like that. Have you traveled a lot then?
Yes, when I was younger, like I said, I traveled to Italy, I traveled to Barcelona with a couple of like select teams, I guess you could call them, from
Okay.
Edmonton. Um, so I was in Italy for 2 weeks, Spain for 2 weeks, and we just played a bunch of different teams and stuff like that. And then in 2018, I moved to Sweden for the year to play there, and that was also an amazing experience. I played a couple of games in Finland. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say I'm like a world traveler or anything like that, but I've definitely seen um, a lot more than other people probably seen.
So, we're kind of just past the halfway point of the season now. Like, what's the feeling been like in the locker room? Maybe lately.
Yeah, lately, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because in my opinion, and a lot of opinion of the staff and the guys, we're playing better football. I mean, since we've been able to get home and play on our home pitch, there's no doubt that I mean we're not lacking character, we're not lacking fight. Like we're battling from behind all the time, but then that's the flip side of the coin is unfortunately we are playing from behind, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a results oriented business, and everybody knows that although we're playing better, there's still a certain expectation playing for a team like this that we need to be in a better position, and we are aware of that. And I think everybody is going to have to start digging deep here and battling through some things and to get to where we want to be, because everybody's on the same page. We know where we want to be, we know where we deserve to be, but unfortunately things just have come together at the wrong point in the season. But we don't have the mentality that we're down and out of it. We're still ready to put our best foot forward and continue to move up the table, hopefully.
So yeah, you mentioned that like you've been playing from behind a lot. So the team's like allowed a lot of penalties this year. Like I think it's the double or like triple the number of like the next highest amount. And I'll preface this by saying like some of those were not like they weren't penalties, like they shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
But like others were.
Yeah.
Has the rest of the team done anything to kind of maybe say like, hey, I'm sorry that we've made you put you into these positions so often? Maybe an extra slice of cake or something.
Yeah, no, I mean it's unfortunate, obviously, because I mean to give up, I'd say even 5 penalties in a season as long as ours is something that I would consider unacceptable. And again, we're all on the same page. We know that we're conceding way too many penalties, and we can't expect games to go our way if we keep conceding at the rate we are. But that being said, I mean, I gave away a penalty as well, so it'd be a little hypocritical of me to, start coming down on guys for giving away penalties. But at the end of the day, like I said, we're all in this together, and whether we give up 5 penalties a game or no penalties a game, I'll always have, all of their backs. Just I know they'll have my back no matter what.
So my understanding is that you're the first Atletico Ottawa player to make the leap into the supporter section, the dub. What inspired you to make that leap?
Honestly, I don't even remember what was going through my head, and even looking back, I'm just like, that was pretty, silly, but I don't regret it at all. I don't regret it at all. And you know what? I'd probably do it again. But it was just one of those moments. It was a special. It wasn't. I don't want to say it was like we just won the World Cup kind of moment, but it was one of those moments where it was like, you know what? We just battled back again from being down in the game. It was a late goal. We probably deserved more that game, but I mean, you have a goalie on the other side that game that's making some outstanding saves. We probably deserved a little bit more. So it's just kind of one of those moments where the adrenaline was pumping. I saw how much it meant to the supporters, and I knew how much it meant to me. And I just wanted to, go celebrate. I just wanted everybody's energy to kind of intertwine and stuff like that. And yeah, no, it was a special moment. It was a bit of a funny moment because, like I said, I celebrated like we just won the Champions League. But to me, I would do it all over again in a heartbeat.
Like there's a few like really great pictures that came from that. And yeah, I know that a lot of the supporters are like just really, really love that. Like especially now that you can play in front of fans. How is that live fan relationship being? Because it's just starting. So how has that been, and how has that developed?
Yeah, well, I've always said, like, in a league like this right now, we need as many people in the stands as we can get, and even when I was in Edmonton, I've always tried to take it upon myself, even when, it's not a team requirement, to go show some appreciation to the fans. Like I would show up to some of their supporters group meetings and just, have a pint with them, buy them a pint kind of thing, just chit chat about soccer, chit chat about life even sometimes. And it's just a good feeling when you know that you can have a relationship with the people that are, spending their money to come watch you play, right? And, fans never ask for anything in return, except for maybe results, but as they should. But, for me, I mean, I had my girlfriend in town for one of the games, and we went to the pub afterwards where they were, and we just sat down and chatted. So, I mean, for me, it's so important that, we engage with the fans. We try to connect with them as much as we can because, I mean, they may enjoy watching us, but we need them more than they need us, right? And like there's nobody holding a gun to their head saying, come watch this game. But the fact of the matter is if they don't spend the money that they work for to come watch us, then there's no league. So it's always been super important to me that they know how important they are to the league and to the teams.
So I had a question about, as the Winnipeg bubble came to a close, like a lot more attention was drawn to that push for the CPL to recognize a players' union, like the Pro Footballers Association of Canada, and like since then, people might have seen, there's been shirts, scarves, like hashtags, and like signs supporting that union. Would you be able to just like briefly explain like why so many fans and players are pushing for this?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that is, I guess, just to come out and say it, it's necessary. In a new league, I know I understand personally how much investment, not only money-wise, but in terms of like owners' time and stuff like that this has taken just to get off the ground. And, for an ownership group in their second year of having a league, for them to be able to invest the money to get us into a bubble, even just to have some kind of season, it's been amazing so far, and I'm super grateful for all the work they've done. But that being said, is at the end of the day, what you put into something is directly what you're going to get out of it, right? So it's always been my stance where if you want a better product on the field, you have to include the players in some kind of conversation, right? So whether that's, hotels that they stay at during a bubble, whether that's, the kind of food that's served during a bubble and stuff like that. I mean, The whole idea around the association is not to, overthrow the league or anything like that. It's not to get them to spend a lot more money or any more money, really. It's just really about being informed. I mean, I know, again, just for me personally, I think it got to like the second last game of the season. We still didn't have a schedule for the rest of the year, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's kind of that stuff that means more to me than anything. Is it like, although owners are investing money, there's people here that have families. There's players here that have kids. There's players here that have houses. There's players that have all different things, right? And it's always just kind of been, just having that voice, having that seat at the table, saying like, okay, well, we understand where you as owners and the league are coming from, but we would just like you to maybe think about X, Y, and Z as well. And if you can incorporate it, then great. If not, well, I guess we can have another conversation. And it's the same with every other player that I've spoken to. Like nobody is like, I don't think I've ever seen a player publicly or even to me privately say this union is about higher salaries or anything like that. This union is about anything of the sort, right? Like I said, it's strictly about just, making it feel like we have some kind of voice, some kind of seat at the table, and, realizing that we can't ask for too much because owners have given a lot right now. So there was kind of a push just at the towards the end of the bubble that, some of us came together and we were just like, you know what, let's just do this thing. And it got a huge response, a huge positive response, some negative, but I mean, there's always going to be critics. But for the most part, I think a lot of the fans and supporters are on the same page as us.
Yeah, so you mentioned even the players didn't have a schedule yet, with like 2 games to go in that Winnipeg bubble. And I think, one thing that's been a source of frustration for most people who aren't like in that inner circle of the workings of the league, I found that the communication has been, subpar, I'll say generously overall. And I don't want to like make this come, seem like this isn't like a league bashing thing. I don't want it to come from that perspective. But like, do you have a sense of, as to like why communication has been like seems to be like a weakness of the league?
So I think just in terms of like, I guess the league's kind of transparency with things, and I guess some could say lack of communication. A lot of that has come during, these last 2 years, which are obviously COVID years. So it is difficult. There is a lot of uncertainty, or there was, around certain things. Like the league has pulled together the bubble 2 years in a row, maybe with limited resources, limited, time and availability for scheduling things. But I think a lot of it has come just because, the league has to do their due diligence to realize and like really do their research on things. Like if they're going to be investing large amounts of money to make something happen, they need to be 1,000,000% sure. And I was obviously vocal about how I felt about the schedule being released. But again, the flip side of that coin, I'm also understanding that, any bad move that the league makes could be catastrophic because it's still so new, right? So any bad investment that they make, any wasted money that is lost, it could be like detrimental to the league. So I do understand why the league does like to take their time sometimes. But that again comes back to, including the players in the discussions, at least at the very minimum, because at the end of the day, although it's the owners and the league making, these big decisions happen, it's us that have to, go park ourselves in Winnipeg for 4 or 5 weeks. It's us that have to, uplift and uproot our lives for, probably more time than we'd want to go play. Although I know every single player in this league is thankful for the opportunity to be able to do that, there needs to be, in my opinion, a little bit more communication from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, like I wish that I had more time with you today to kind of dive more into this. So I hope that we can talk about this more in the future. But I will ask, in terms of recognizing the union, can you say if there's been like much progress in that lately?
Yeah. Dan Crook and, Paul Champ, and along with the board, they've been making some very good strides. I mean, um, it's a long, I'm not going to say battle because it shouldn't be labeled as a battle, but it's a long road ahead. During that Pacific versus Vancouver Whitecaps game, you saw two unions come together there for a picture. So, it's gaining traction where everybody knows where we stand. Everybody knows the direction we want to go. So for me, it's just kind of a matter of time. And, I hope I'm around long enough to be able to see it come to fruition.
So before we go, I did put out to social media. I think you saw that. I was asking for some fan questions. So I did get a few today. Where do you get your fashion inspiration? Are you a fashion guy?
I don't know if I'd say like I'm a fashion guy. I mean, I think I dress, decently. I think I have a
I'm
half
not sure
decent.
if this is in reference to something. This is from Thomas Stockton, and I think you've talked to him before.
Yeah, Thomas and I've had a couple chats before. Honestly, yeah, I don't know. I just, find something that I like. I'm very, plain. I don't wear like a lot of colors or flashy colors. I'm like black, white, gray, and like maybe navy blue or something like that. So I'm just a very simple guy in that aspect. So don't know if that answers your question, Thomas, or not, but
Do you have any favorite moments so far? Like anything that stands out with Atletico so far?
that stands out. Yeah, I mean, probably that home opener, that first game that we had in front of
Yeah.
so many people. I mean, 12,000 people. It's the first big outdoor event that the city put back on and that Atletico put on. I mean, for us to be able to, once again, I think we came from behind in that game, and to be able to win it in front of everybody, it was an amazing feeling. And then obviously my crowd surfing moment there. So yeah, no, those are probably the two that stick out the most.
Okay. How do you feel about the Atletico culture so far, and like how has it evolved in Ottawa this season?
Yeah, no, I mean, again, it goes back to like everything that we kind of chatted about with Spain. I mean, they do their best here to make it as, close to Atletico Madrid as they can, but without losing the identity of Ottawa. And I think that's a really important piece to, this isn't a Spanish club, this is still Canadian players playing for a Canadian city. So I think that's a really important message to also drive home. But yeah, like our CEO, Fernando, all our coaches, trying to bring the philosophy over and everything like that. It's been a really good learning year for me.
Okay. What are your hopes or like goals, I guess, for the rest of the season?
Make playoffs, period. And you know what? I believe in myself. I believe in my teammates. I believe in everybody from the top down that we're going to get it done. I know that might sound optimistic with where we are, but I think some of the guys, myself included, are going to a different place mentally to be able to, dig deep and find that extra motivation that we obviously need right now. And hopefully we see that out on the pitch tomorrow.
Okay. Which CPL team is most in need of a new stadium, and why is it Edmonton?
No, that's, you know what? I can never bash my hometown club.
Of course.
Tom Fath is an amazing owner. And you know what? He does a lot for the soccer community in Edmonton. And you know what? To be able to, I don't know if anybody knows this, but that's a city of Edmonton owned field. And he gets very little support from the city in terms of, financial assistance to be able to put in new stands. So when you watch their games, all the stands on the far side of the field that are blue is all him. He put his own money into that. So, I mean, there's a lot of, things that, different stadiums have that others don't. I mean, you go to Halifax, they have a grass pitch, right?
Yeah.
But just because they have a grass pitch doesn't mean they have the best stadium. So, I mean, you go to Hamilton or Winnipeg or Ottawa, and we have the CFL stadiums, right? So everybody's got, good pieces and pieces that, are maybe less ideal. But yeah, Edmonton is very fortunate to have Tom Fath and how generous he is.
You're not gonna get any arguments from me. So my last question. So for everyone, at some point your playing days come to an end. Like, what does Dylon Powley see himself doing after his career winds down, which is like years and years away?
Yeah.
Just
No, that's a good question. I mean, I always find myself, I have my own goalkeeper academy back in Edmonton. So coaching is definitely a passion of mine. I mean, I was lucky in the sense that, my parents were able to provide me with like all the extra goalkeeper training and all that kind of stuff. That being said, the game has evolved, right? So it's not just like the goalie kicks the ball up every single time, right? I like to think that I can provide a new perspective on the position and maybe even the game for, kids that want to learn. So it's always been a passion of mine to, be able to pass down what I know. But that being said, is I'm learning my last 3 years in the league here, from my goalkeeper coach in Edmonton to my goalkeeper coach now with Ottawa. I've learned so much, and I take bits and pieces from everybody, and I want to be able to give it back to kids. So I would definitely say something with soccer still and coaching.
That was our chat with Atletico Ottawa goalkeeper Dylon Powley. Really hope you enjoyed it. That's going to wrap up this episode. And hey, if there's anyone that you want to hear on the podcast, don't be afraid to let me know. Reach out over social media, email if you see me at a game. You want something? Say something. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you can do that. I'm told that helps me. Until next time, my name is Josh Lemoyne. We'll see you.